Congratulations, everyone. You now know how to determine computed visibility to a light. For this lecture, we're going to be discussing the practical application, meaning how we use it as navigators. Then we're going to briefly review the steps to computing visibility, and finally go over one more example using an actual light to tie it all together. So as you're building your track, you need to determine which nav aids will be in close proximity that you can potentially see and therefore use to confirm your position. Once you find specific nav aids, gather the 4 bits of data that we talked about to determine your computed visibility. Remember, those are height of the light, height of the eye observer, both of those in units of feet, nominal range in nautical miles, and meteorological visibility. In this example, we're going to be using molasses reef light. With the computed visibility determined to be 7 nautical miles, we will measure the distance using dividers and create a circle centered around the light with a radius equal to the computed visibility. Where the circle intersects the track is where you should anticipate seeing molasses reef light. Remember, this is an estimate. There is room for error. Your CO standing order should define when to call if an expected aid to navigation is not viewed within a certain time or distance. And this is ship dependent and should be a conversation you have with your captain. But at that intersection point, you should anticipate seeing the light down that specific bearing. So in this case, at 7 nautical miles, bearing roughly 005 true, you should see molasses reef light. The characteristics we talked about that are on the chart, but even some of the supplemental information outlined in the light lists, are great things to add to the night orders. Define to the watch team the name of the light, bearing of the light, characteristics of the light, and the point at which they should see it. If you're using electronic charts, the use of a critical point to have the QMAL remind the officer of the deck or con is a great idea so that no one accidentally misses it. Now that's how you apply the computed visibility to your chart and use it as a navigator. It is a very useful tool to confirm positions and pretty neat when it all comes together. To review how we do it, let's run through the steps one more time. So step 1, this is determining those 4 pieces of information we talked about. So determine the height of the light and nominal range of the light, which we can find those on the chart, light list, or in list of lights, depending upon the geographical location. Determine the height of eye, right? That's found in the ship's information book, which that value is usually placed on the pilot card. And the meteorological visibility, which we can determine from weather reports and actually going outside. So once we have all 4 of those, we're going to start with calculating horizon distance to both the light and horizon distance of the observer on the ship. The formula that we use is 1.17 times the square root of those heights, so the height of the light and or the height of the eye. But remember, both of those values need to be in units of feet in order for this to work, because that 1.17 factor has a conversion in it from feet so that the horizon distance comes out in nautical miles. Alternately, you could use table 12 for each horizon distance individually. With those horizon distances, we're going to determine geographic range by taking the sum of both horizon distances. Again, alternately, you can use table 12 with those horizon distance values, add those together for your geographic range, or table 13, which is combined and will just give you a geographic range value by itself. Now you've got geographic range checked off. Next, we're going to go to the luminous range diagram to determine luminous range. In order to do this, the 2 values we need along the x-axis, we'll go ahead and plot the nominal range, and we'll draw a vertical line straight up connecting. Then we're going to find the visibility arc, or somewhere in between, based upon what the expected meteorological visibility is outside. Where the meteorological visibility arc and the vertical line of the nominal range values intersect, we're going to draw a horizontal line across and read out on the y-axis what the luminous range value is. Now at this point, we'll have both geographic range and luminous range. So to determine the computed visibility, we'll just take the lesser of those 2 values, and then we're going to plot the radius of that computed visibility distance on the chart around the light. So now that we know how to do that, once again, let's go ahead and work into an actual problem. This example, you're pulling into Pensacola, Florida, and you encounter a bright light. From your navigation brief, you expect to encounter Pensacola light. You confirm the characteristics. Your height of eye is 40 feet. The meteorological visibility is 5.5 nautical miles. What is the computed visibility of this light under the given conditions? So thinking back again, remember, we need those 4 bits of data. We need the height of the light. We need the height of eye of the ship. We need meteorological visibility and luminous range. So height of eye is 40 feet. That's the height of eye of the ship. So good on that one. Meteorological visibility is 5.5. So MV is 5.5. Now what do we need? We need the height of that light, and we need the nominal range of that light. And we're pulling into Pensacola, Florida, so we need to get into a publication in order to find those. That publication is Light List. So what we're going to do is we're going to go into that publication. We're going to find that value, or that light, Pensacola light, and we're going to go over to the correct columns and pull the values for the height of the light and the nominal range of the light. So first, we're going to start with geographic range. Height of eye of the ship, we know was 40 feet. That was given. We're going to do the calculation of 1.17 times the square root of 40, because it's in units of feet, so we're good there. And we get a horizon distance of 7.4 nautical miles. Now, from the light list, we determined the height of eye of the light to be 191 feet. In units of feet, good to go there. We use the same equation, 1.17 times the square root of 191, and that gives us a value of 16.2 nautical miles for horizon distance of the light. Now we're going to add those two horizon distance values together, 7.4 plus 16.2, to get a geographic range of 23.6 nautical miles. So geographic range, we have found, we are good to go. Now we need to move on to luminous range. Again, luminous range, you need nominal range of the light and the meteorological visibility. So the nominal range from the light list, we've determined to be 27 nautical miles. The meteorological visibility was given at 5.5 nautical miles. Now this happens to be a good visibility distance because this is one of the standard arcs of visibility. You see that there is a 5.5 nautical mile arc already drawn on the luminous range diagram. So this one happens to be a little bit easier because we don't have to estimate where that is. So now we'll go ahead and apply it to the diagram itself. So first of all, we're going to find where 27 nautical miles happens to be, right? So 2 over from 25, we'll draw a vertical line straight up. Now we're going to take that 5.5 nautical mile curve right there, and we're going to plot an intersection point. And from that intersection point, we'll draw a horizontal line over to the y-axis and read off that value. So we determined from 27 nautical mile nominal range with a meteorological visibility of 5.5 nautical miles, a luminous range value of 17 nautical miles. Now remember, computed visibility is always the lesser of the two values, luminous and geographic ranges. So the lesser of these two values is 17 nautical miles for your computed visibility of Pensacola light.